Now we will hear Good Morning by Swamiji, and then we'll hear a wonderful song Swamiji wrote, Thank You, God. And as Swamiji is singing, please feel free to sing along on the Thank You, God part. And then afterwards, we'll hear a few words from Swamiji on this topic of gratitude.
Good morning. The secret of happiness is giving up personal attachments, recognizing that nothing and no one truly belongs to us, since all is God's.
Thank you, God, for the light of the sun. Thank you, God, for the rainbow. Thank you, God, for this day begun. Thank you, God, for the sun. Thank you, God, for the bright summer flowers. Thank you, God, for the green fields. Thank you, God, for these wakeful hours. Thank you, God, for the flowers. Thank you, God, for the smile of your love. Thank you, God, for our gladness. Thank you, God, that the gray clouds move. Thank you, God, for your love. Thank you, God, for the light of the sun. Thank you, God, for the rainbow. Thank you, God, for this day begun. Thank you, God, for the sun. Thank you, God, for the bright summer flowers. Thank you, God, for the green fields. Thank you, God, for these wakeful hours. Thank you, God, for the flowers. Thank you, God, for the smile of your love. Thank you, God, for our gladness. Thank you, God, that the gray clouds move. Thank you, God, for your love.
This is something that I have seen in my life, in the lives of other people, again and again and again, that if a person will take with an even mind whatever God gives him, because if we thank him for this beautiful dinner, then we should also thank him for the times when we don't have the opportunity to eat at all. The proper kind of gratitude that we give to the infinite is not for blessings given, but for his love, which sometimes is given in very sort of difficult to take ways, no doubt. But if we can thank him for everything, then and then only do we grow. I have seen many people, it's become almost sort of a cliche in my mind, saying, oh, Master gave me a wonderful apartment. And I think, gosh, you don't really yet understand what it is Master has to give you if you can get all that excited about getting an apartment. It may be that he gave it to you and it may be just your karma, but the point is that they tend to think in terms, A, of the physical, material blessings that God and Guru give, and B, they tend to think in terms of the comforts involved with those little blessings rather than the lessons involved. Very often the people to whom Master was closest were the ones whom he disciplined the most. The ones that he, like this one monk, Brother Bhaktananda, whom Master was disciplining very severely for some time. And one of the nuns got very sort of hurt for Bhaktananda, Reverend Michael he was then, and she was very sad for Michael that he was being treated so harshly by Master. She thought Master was being unfair. And Master said to her, there is a saying, no, he said it to, Bhaktananda began to feel a bit sort of affected by this sympathy, as people will. And after all, he was being bludgeoned on the one hand by his guru and sympathized with by this fellow disciple. And so Master, to catch this thought before it grew, it wasn't a strong thought, but it was just sort of nascent, said to him, there is a saying in India, she who loves you more than your own mother is a witch. He said, I'm your mother. Wouldn't I know what is good for you? And the thing is that the Guru and God Very often those who really love God the most are the ones who get beaten the hardest, because the purpose of the guru, when he finds a little child in a mud puddle, is not to pretty up the mud puddle, not to make beautiful marks on the forehead with the mud. It's to take the child out of the mud puddle and clean it up. We are in this mud puddle of delusion, and the purpose of the guru is not to make the mud puddle more comfortable. The purpose of him is to take us out of this delusion, and if in doing so he has to make it a little bit inconvenient and uncomfortable, it doesn't matter. He couldn't care less, because he knows that what he's giving us is for our own good. It doesn't mean that he's happy to subject us to the tests. It's that he knows that what we've come to him for may require those tests. It's like a doctor who submits you to an operation to save your life. A child, not understanding that that's the purpose of the doctor's operation or purpose of his drilling on the tooth or whatever it is, may scream bloody murder. But that doesn't mean that the doctor would be more loving by not going ahead with it. When I was a child in Romania, I had, as you all know, colitis, and came close to dying of it. And I couldn't have milk or other dairy products for quite a long time. And as a result of the lack of calcium, my teeth began to go very bad. I have just all sorts of fillings in them. And the dentist, because I was screaming, they didn't have Novocaine in those days, and here a little kid of 11 years old being drilled deep in his teeth, right up to the nerves. You can imagine what a lot of screaming I did. Most of my teeth needed it. And the dentist, out of compassion, finally ended up not drilling the entire tooth, but filling it in over a little bit of remaining decay. Now, was that compassion? It meant I had to go through the whole thing all over again 3 years later, and much deeper. So it is with the gurus. They would rather give us a little bit of pain now to spare us a great deal of pain later on. So when we say, thank you, God, let's thank him for our blessings, yes, but let's not just define the blessings in terms of nice apartments and good things. Let us define the blessings primarily in terms of the opportunities that God has given us to grow. Some people come to Ananda and they talk about the difficulty of living here. Well, it isn't easy. It's not fun slogging through deep mud looking for an outhouse in the dark. There are all kinds of inconveniences. We well know them. The fact is, however, that it is an almost unparalleled opportunity for serving God, an almost unparalleled opportunity for giving your life to him and working for him. And to me, that is the only thing that matters. I mean, look at it this way, if you like. The Catholic mystics used to go out of their way to make life uncomfortable. We don't have to. They would flagellate themselves and lie on boards and go on long fasts and so on. We don't have to do any of that stuff. The discipline that comes from living as we do is great. It's wonderful. And actually, now that we're on the eve of doing what we have to do, because the world goes on and we go on, and we have to build this community. But I think I can say it as a prophecy, virtually, that the day will come when we'll look back on these days as the good old days. These are the most wonderful days, when we haven't a huge community, when things really are still simple and primitive, and we'll keep them as simple as we can, but because we have a world mission, we're going to have to build up. We're going to have to do more. But these are the days. And when people talk about working long hours for small pay and less food or whatever it is that they talk about, just pull back a little bit and look at what it is that you've got. The opportunity to give is the thing that we should be the most thankful for of all, not the opportunity to receive. And I think that's what makes me smile the most inwardly, but not, unfortunately, appreciatively when people talk like that of, oh, Master gave me this beautiful apartment. It's because they define the spiritual life in terms of what God's giving them. And I learned long ago that the whole way to define the spiritual life is in terms of what you are willing to keep on giving to God. And you give every ounce that you've got, and then you're the one he's going to ask more of. Okay, are you a hero or are you a coward? Because if you want to grow, then that's exactly what you should want. You should be glad that he's asking more of you than other people, because that means that you've shown a willingness to give more. The more you give, the more you'll take, until finally he's taken everything away from you. But he's given you everything in return.
Good morning. Such a wonderful talk by Swamiji. And I want to start to just give you some scientific effects of gratitude that I got off the internet. There is scientific evidence that proves how gratitude can change your brain, make you happier, boost your immune system, improve your relationships, and make you more productive. Even just thinking about how you can be grateful sparks brain activity critical to good sleep, mood regulation, and metabolism. And then on the effects of positive thoughts on plants. For 30 days, 2 plants kept in identical conditions with the same amount of light, water, and fertilizer were displayed at a school in Dubai. Children were encouraged to record both negative and positive comments to the plants. At the end of the month, the plant that had been receiving negativity appeared visibly different, with drooping and dying leaves. The plant that had been told nice things had thrived, and there was a clear difference between the 2 flowers. And finally, on water, the effects of kind thoughts on water. Dr. Masaru Emoto, you can Google all of these, performed a series of experiments observing the physical effect of words, prayers, music, and environment on the crystalline structure of water. Photographers took pictures of the water after being exposed to the different variables and subsequently frozen so that they could see the formed crystalline structures. The water, stamped with positive words, is far more symmetrical and aesthetically beautiful than that stamped with dark negative phrases. And I want to show you a picture of these forms of the crystals that were given positive energy. They were told thank you, and love and gratitude. So you can see this formed in the crystals. Again, I tell you, please go online and look up Dr. Emoto and his experiments. Now, as we could hear from Swamiji's wonderful talk, we shouldn't just be grateful looking at what is God given me and what is he going to give me. That's like a merchant. I love you, God, if you give me a car. I love you, God, if you give me a job. I don't love you, God, if you don't give me that job. I don't love you, God, if my health goes bad. I don't love you, God, if my kids don't love me. And this is going back and forth, back and forth. This has to be, I love you, God, for your love, for your being with me completely, even though I don't, maybe it looks dark outside. Maybe it looks like things are bad. Maybe it looks like I won't be able to be as happy or have as much as I want to have, but it's okay. I love you anyway. And I was thinking of, in Assisi, when I lived there with the devotees, we had maybe 30 of us at the time, 25, 30 people. And every week we had a meeting and we just all gathered together in a circle. And then everyone, you know, we went around and people said whatever was, I mean, we all lived together. So there were a lot of things to discuss. But I noticed in the beginning, when we started having those meetings, that they were negative. Everybody found something negative. Oh, you left the dirty dishes in the sink. Oh, you left the car dirty. Oh, you didn't leave the groceries there for me. Oh, you took my spot. And we went around the circle, everybody was complaining. And so I finally said, because I was one of the directors of the center, I said, this isn't really going anywhere. I mean, we could have the same agenda every week, the car, the dishes, the floor. You didn't tell me this and that. So I said, now, why don't we start the meeting? And I changed everything. Start the meeting with gratitude. One person after the other, say something good that happened. Something good that happened with another person, but say something good. Wow, what a shift. By the time we got around to the 25 or 30 people, nobody was complaining anymore. And this is one thing to think about. If something's going bad, think of what's going good. Oh, thank you, God. This is going good. Oh, that's great. That's not so good, but this is going good. And as we think of that, we'll find what happens is if you're grateful, you have energy. If you're negative, you don't have energy. I even read online that if you're critical, your brain starts shrinking. You can't think straight. And you know when people get angry and upset and I'm mad about this and you did that, their face contorts, their eyes look heavy, their whole body is twisted. And you go the opposite. Oh, thank you. Showing gratitude, being encouraging, being supportive. Your energy lifts, your magnetism lifts, your aura gets bigger. You feel happy, you have all thoughts, you have clarity, you have ideas, you have inspiration. You can move, otherwise you're sitting on the couch, you can't even move. You get ill from negativity. You get ill from not being grateful to life, for the sunshine, like the beautiful song, the air, the moon, the flowers, that you even alive. There's so much to be grateful for, and a devotee is grateful for. I have a guru. Oh my God, thank you. I have a spiritual life. I have teachings. I have techniques. I have these online classes. I have guru buys. Even if I didn't have all that outwardly, I have God by my side, if I see him or not. And sometimes you think, how can I thank God? I'm in so much pain. Surely we've all been through that. Master went through that. He lost his mother. He was at age 12, I believe. He was inconsolable. How could he thank God? But what happened is so beautiful. Divine Mother appeared to him and she said, I was your mother. Didn't you know? It was me. And that's the wonderful thing. If we can remember in everything, in the job, in the children, in the husband, hey, that was me. You never said anything to me. And Master realized that she was his real mother. And then he lost his guru. I mean, these had to be painful experiences, but what happens? Shri does what it comes. He says, I'm the same. Then you have to realize that through a difficult times, whatever happens, God is the same, the only friend that will ever be there. That's the same. The only one to thank God behind the person who hired you, behind your family, behind your husband and wife and your kids and your health and your wealth and your everything. It's Divine Mother. And people say, and I hear it a lot, I meditate, I'm a devotee, why did God do this to me? What? Look at everything that is working. Why did God do this to me? And I remember, well, you look at it, it's your own karma. You made the mess, you have to clean it up. You can't blame, oh, it's Divine Mother, she did it to me. No, it's your own karma. And you have to grow. We're in a school here. We're growing. I hope you're growing. I mean, if we don't grow, we have to come back again and again, the same school, the same lessons, the same people, the same tests. There was that one man, he left the monastery, Swamiji said, because of Jerry, he just hated Jerry. And then he left and he came back a year later. He told Swamiji, you know how much I hated Jerry, and he said, there's 6 other people where I am now, just like Jerry. And you just can't go away from it. You can't run. And so in the situation you're in, if you put out good energy, if you're grateful, harmonious, then things begin to work. You can't blame it on God. Blame yourself. Get your own energy going right. Be more happy. Be more helpful. In every situation, see, what can I do? How can I thank other people? How can I show gratitude at my job and everything? And I remember Swami Kriyanandaji, when he said he had such a difficult time when he had to leave his guru's organization. And he said it was the greatest pain of his life. and he didn't know what to do. He would just lie in bed and look up at the ceiling and he felt even his guru had abandoned him for a while. And then what happened? He founded Ananda. Master got him to do another work. And this was the meaning of the test, expansion. Where would we all be had that not happened? And Swamiji said also at Ananda itself that he was hoping. I mean, it was hard times. You heard what he said there on the talk. And he said there were hard times, and he was hoping Divine Mother would help them financially at the beginning. And she didn't. He said she didn't. And he realized what a blessing, because we grew. We got stronger. We got more in tune. We put out more energy. Had someone just come and just wrote checks all the time, we would have just been chanting Om all day and doing nothing. He said, we had to build the community. We had to make it work. And he said, I'm so grateful. I grew in faith and attunement and energy and inspiration because Divine Mother allowed us to do it ourselves. And Swamiji told us, any outright misfortune, Master would take it away from you. He would take it on his own body. But anything you needed to grow, he allowed it to happen. You can't say, Guru's not here, Guru's not helping me. He's allowing you to grow. What a privilege to be able to get out of delusion. And I was recalling sometimes when earlier in a work in Assisi, I was thinking of what was the most difficult time was for me to say thank you. There were a few, but this one just stuck in my mind right away. When we lived in Europe, and we were starting the work in Italy. First, we were at Lake Como. And the very first year, the first Thanksgiving, we were there. And I remember Swamiji was there with us. And we didn't even know it was Thanksgiving. And Swamiji told us, oh, it's Thanksgiving. We should do something for Thanksgiving. And this was a time we were in a rented house in the mountains. Off of Lake Como. It was freezing. It was the middle of winter. There was even on the altar, the holy water was just solid ice. That's how cold it was. It was cold air coming all through the cracks in the windows and in the building. And there was hardly anything to eat. There was no friends. I mean, we had Swamiji, thank God, we had our Guru Bhais, but people we were with Ananda, we couldn't call anybody. It cost $3 a minute to call anybody. Nobody had any money. And we were just like, wow, this is heavy. And Swamiji was about to leave to go back to America. And so there we were, and he was all enthusiastic about Thanksgiving. We're just wondering, why are we even here? So I remember a meditation we had with Swamiji, and he said, everybody was blanketed. You know, we had so many blankets. There was just a little space heater with a little bit of heat coming out. And we were just freezing, honestly. And we were under all these blankets in the meditation room. And some of us were weeping. I was one of them. I just don't want to be here. I just don't want to be here. And Swamiji's leaving, and you could hear Swamiji's voice. He's guiding the meditation, and he read everybody's thoughts, and he just said, we must be grateful for everything. And then everybody, no, I just can't be grateful. But of course we had to be, and that started the work in Europe. Now it's a huge work that serves all of Europe, but you had to go through times of tapasya, times of gratitude to God, no matter what happened. And the same thing happened at Christmas, just a month afterwards. There we were, no Swamiji at that point, and Jyotish and Deviji were there with us. I believe it was it was the same year. Because of Thanksgiving, Swamiji said, we must have mashed potatoes, and we didn't even have a masher, so he had a bottle. He was mashing the potatoes, and we were trying to make some semblance of a Thanksgiving meal. It didn't quite make it, but it was joyful in a way. And so then Christmas comes, and there we are still. The snow is so high, we're frozen by then. Swamiji's not there. So Davy and I were in one room, a little sitting room that had a fireplace, thank God, because we had guests who were there, and they wanted the Ananda Christmas, and we wanted our Ananda Christmas too. Where's our presents? Where's our friends? Where's our family? Where's everything? Where's the tree? We were just griping, complaining. And these poor guests were there. So Davy and I were in this room getting some things ready for the guests, and it was all smoky, you know, from the fire and everything. And then somebody calls from Ananda, America, and they said, well, how are you all doing? And so he talks to Davy, and then I see Davy G over there, and she just starts breaking down, and she says, we're fine. They had just sent their son, 8 years old, back to America, I believe it, with one of the Ananda people to go to school. And then they gave the phone to me, and she gave the phone. I said, do you want me to take the phone? She says, yes. So I said, oh, we're fine. Yes, we're fine. And that was our Christmas. And we had to pull ourselves together and go out there and help and serve those people. I am so grateful. I grew through those experiences. I was young when I went there, my 20s. I grew so much, every experience. If you look back, how did you grow? I grew through that painful time. I came up out of the darkness into the light. I became who I am from those experiences. And if you thank God in that way, otherwise, I remember Master said for someone, he said, you can't get strong by boxing babies. You have to be strong in yourself. And as you look back at your life, the times when you grew the most, certainly were those tough times. And the times afterwards, you might not have been able to say it at the time, then maybe you won't. But later, you look at that and you say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for the experiences. I'm grateful for everything, not just the good. I'm grateful for everything because it has shown your love and your love in my life. I want to close with just saying a few words here from giving a few tips. You might want to write these down. I'll give you just a moment. There are 5 tips on how to practice gratitude. Okay, so the first one is get and keep a gratitude journal, meaning write in your journal, write every day, I'm grateful for this, whatever it is, but keep a journal on gratitude. Another one, tell a friend something you appreciate about them. Isn't that wonderful? Tell a friend something you appreciate about them. The next one, sit in a quiet place and think about when something went well. How did you feel? Recall that feeling for a few days. Isn't that beautiful? I love this next one. Next time something bad or something you don't like happens, consider 5 good things that happened as a result of that event. And finally, today, write someone a thank you note. God bless you and have a wonderful day.